Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I would like to talk about Fire King Consort Ulcanix, which is a card coming out next Friday. I think it's October 11th in the TCG, and my locals is having their sneak peek tomorrow, so this card's gonna be available about a week early for everyone to start playing with. Well, at least some for anyone who has an OTS with a sneak preview. And I just wanted to show off the card and show how much it boosts the pure Fire King deck. I know people are going to play this card in the Azamina Snake Eyes deck, at least some people are, but yeah, I think this card actually improves the starter decks quite a bit, and I'm just going to show some combos. So for the first Ulcanix combo, you pretty much just need any fire monster, and this deck has so many lines and so many options, so I have all these extra deck cards in the side. I mean, I'll talk about them all later, but the first combo I'm just going to show off with Ash Blossom, just as like a baseline fire monster that does nothing. So to start off the combo, you start with Ulcanix and just destroy any fire monster, and then you grab Ponix. Yeah, the card can modulate its level 2, which becomes important to the other combo lines, which I'll talk about here after I'm done with this one. But Ponix is going to activate its effect and grab Sanctuary, and then Sanctuary is obviously going to get Fire King Island. And Fire King Island destroys Ulcanix, and you can grab Garunix, and then Ulcanix is going to activate its effect to summon the original high Avatar Garunix, and then Sacred Garunix is going to be Chainlink 2. And now that high Avatar Garunix is summoned, Sacred Garunix is going to activate its effect, and you're going to send Kieran to the graveyard, which is going to bring back Ulcanix. And it's going to ask if you want to destroy one card on the field, and in this instance we will not do that. But you can see here we just have so many options. So in the OCG, something that they could do is link 2 into Sunlight Wolf and then make Link Karibo with Ponix, and then that would climb them up into Heat Soul. But unfortunately in the TCG, because Link Karibo is banned, you would have to first make the Sunlight Wolf and then make Masquerade under it to get into Heat Soul, which, I don't super recommend unless you're going to start digging for side deck cards like Dimensional Barrier and things like that with the combo. But what you can do in the TCG is you can still make Anima underneath Sunlight Wolf and trigger its effect. But, there's just a plethora of other options here. I mean, you could have made like Little Knight next to Hope Harbinger, or Masquerade next to Hope Harbinger. Like, the amount of options you have in this deck are insane. But I'm just going to talk about, what I think the main, most powerful combo lines are. And then Sunlight Wolf is going to trigger, and you're going to add back the Kieran that you sent earlier. And then from here, you'll be able to make Princess. And then Princess will bring back the Sunlight Wolf into this zone right here. Because if someone's playing a Link deck and they have to Link Summon in this zone to get their plays going, you're going to be able to get a card back from your graveyard with Sunlight Wolf, probably Ponix, so that it enters back into rotation from being destroyed, because as of now it was linked and won't be coming back on your standby. But after you summon the Sunlight Wolf in that zone, you can make Amberwell here, and then you have quite a good setup if you go around to your opponent's turn. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get that add back of Ponix off a Sunlight Wolf, but, maybe you won't. And in the scenario where you don't, that's okay. You can just destroy Sunlight Wolf as a fire monster, and then that's going to trigger Sacred Garunix in your graveyard. And when it comes back, you're going to send Arvada, and then Arvada is going to summon I know it's very tempting to get Ponix because you get an ad off of that, and there's honestly nothing too wrong with it if you're already in a winning position. But technically, if you get the original high avatar Garunix, what's going to happen here is if your opponent starts to continue to play the game, you can have Promethean Princess summon itself out of the graveyard when they special summon, destroying your Kieran, and then Princess comes back, and then when Kieran is destroyed, Kieran will bring Arvada back. And after Kieran is destroyed, there won't be 2 level 8 monsters for you to quick Xyz into Hiyang with Sanctuary's effect. So by summoning the high avatar Garunix, it just kind of gives you another layer of interruption. And, you know, after you use your Arvada negate, you can use your Arvada negate on Ambler Whale, which adds even more disruption. And then you still have your quick sync into Hiyang, which could potentially destroy the Ambler Whale as well. So just several layers of interruption with everything floating into each other. And that was all off of the Fire King Consort Ulcanix and just any random fire monster. But what happens when you have not just any random fire monster, but you instead have a better fire monster like Sacred Garunix? Well, in this scenario, you would normal summon and destroy the Garunix, and we're of course going to get Ponix again. You don't need to modify the level for any of these combos, but I will talk about things you can do with that later. Ponix is going to, of course, grab Sanctuary. And Sanctuary will get Fire King Island, all looking pretty similar, except this time we're just going to be able to hard add the Kieran to our hand. And then Ulcanix and Sacred Garunix will both trigger. And now, because we're able to get Kieran early, we're also able to get Arvada early. And then Arvada is going to bring back Ulcanix. And we find ourselves in a similar setup, except this time it's slightly better. Because now when you make Sunlight Wolf and go into Anima, you're going to be able to get the Ponix back and then have that back in rotation guaranteed. And then when you make Princess, you obviously also have a leftover monster on the board. So you will be able to grab the Arvada and then make Ambler Whale. And now that, you know, you kind of have an idea of the flow of the deck, you know, some stuff that you could have happen is you could, you know, use Arvada to destroy Kieran, which is going to trigger Garunix on your opponent's turn, and then Garunix is going to have the option to be another interruption by sending the other copy of Kieran. Ambler Whale could still potentially be destroyed by Princess. There's just layers upon layers of interruption within the deck, and I think that's really cool. Now, for the last Ulcanix combo I'm going to show you, I am going to show you what happens when you open it up with Ponix and then have no need to search Ponix off of its effect. Okay, so this time Ulcanix is going to destroy Ponix, and you're going to add Sacred Garunix. And, you know, again, the level modulation is cool because, you know, you could just do the level modulation, summon the Garunix, and then, you know, stop there. You don't even need to use its effect, and you just have a Hope Harbinger if you want it. And I think that's cool. Like, it just opens up the deck to tons and tons and tons of options that you could just do whatever you want with it. And I think that's awesome. That's always, a deck having options is always a good sign. But I don't need to do the level modulation for this combo. And then Sacred Garunix is going to now send Kieran instead of Arvada, because I want Ponix to come back and still have its effect active, because if you sent Arvada, it would come back negated. And I can destroy one card on the field, and this time I will. This time I'm going to destroy the Ulcanix. And now you can chain block one or the other, but I'm going to chain block Ponix here because Sanctuary is probably more important. So 1 Ponix, 2 Ulcanix, and I'm going to get High Avatar Garunix, and then add the Sanctuary. And now Sanctuary is going to get Island. And here we're going to deviate from the typical Sunlight Wolf play. And this time I'm going to make Doolittle Chimera with these two, leaving Sacred Garunix. And then Island is going to destroy Doolittle Chimera. And I'm going to add Arvada to my hand. And then Doolittle Chimera is going to add back the Kieran. And then Kieran is going to activate, destroying Arvada. And Arvada will activate, bringing back Ponix, because I need it as a level 1. And now I can go into the Sunlight Wolf plays from before. And this time, Sunlight Wolf will... I forget if I add back Kieran or Ponix here. I'm pretty sure I add back Kieran, yeah. And then I can go into Princess. And then Princess will bring back the Arvada. And now I have a setup where Kieran can destroy Princess. And that's going to trigger Garunix, which can summon itself and then potentially send another interruption with another copy of Kieran from the deck. And then I'll have access to Hiyang through Sanctuary. We'll have a monster negate with Arvada, and then Princess can also still come out of the graveyard as an additional interruption. So that's something that you can do if you open Ulcanix and Ponix together. And those are the main combos I wanted to talk about. Whoops, I didn't mean to go out of the deck editor, but I have all these extra deck cards down here, and then you'll also see this Dogmatica engine. I mean, the deck just has so much you can do. I mean, I would describe it as a combo web. It's not even really like lines or a combo tree anymore. I mean, it's a web. Like every card floats into the other card. There's a limitless amount of options that you can do with this deck. You know, with the level modulation, you could make a card like Kika Nagashi, like Fuko. So if you just imagine the scenario where this is what you have, and that was supposed to be Ash Blossom. I don't know what happened there. So let's imagine the scenario. This is what you have, and then, you know, your opponent has previous experience with the deck, and they know that, hey, I should effect Veiler or Imperm Ponix and not this card. Which I'll talk about dodging some of those cards too here in a second. But, you know, let's just say you do this, and then you get your Ponix out, and this time you go for the level modulation, and then you know, Ponix comes out and you get hit with Imperm, and then this is what you're stuck on. You know, you could still, you know, theoretically make Little Knight or something else, but you could also make Kinagashi Fuko and potentially guaranteed live another turn and maybe, you know, top deck something. You know, and there's an argument to be made, well, oh, like if this is all I had, maybe I should just let Ponix sit there and then hopefully it'll get destroyed and come back to my hand in the follow-up. That's an option. The deck can just do so much. It's pretty sick. You know, and then straight up, you could do the Hope Harbinger play that I was talking about before. You have better access to level 8s through Ulcanix. And then with that same level 1 play I just showed, you could make Assembled Nightingale and potentially go into a Zeus play. That's pretty sick. There's other combos where you can use All Mirage to get into Heat Soul with better card economy. So I could just show one of those, but I promised I would show how to, you know, dodge Imperm and Valor and stuff. And basically, if you're just in a situation where you have, you know, these cards or some combination of them, let's just say you activate your Ponix and then it goes to get Impermed. Obviously, you can cure in it. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that play by now. But if you hard open Skyburn, you can actually Skyburn your own Ponix and target the Imperm and destroy them both, and it'll resolve. That's a good way to dodge it. You know, and then there's, you know, other tricks you can do with cards like Circle that'll get around that. So that's really cool. Oh yeah, the card economy stuff where you use Al Mirage. I'll just show that combo real quick. But that combo is Ponix and Arvada. I have to put out, I don't need the Dogmatic and stuff for this. Where was I? Ponix and Arvada. So this is how that one would go. You would Ponix into your Sanctuary, place Island, and then you're pretty much going straight for the Almirage here. This works out better for Heat Soul because it's a Cybers. Now, there are things you can do by using Anima. I'm pretty sure there's like a little night line you can go into. But after you send Arvada, you're going to add Sacred Garunix. And then you're going to Arvada back your Ponix and summon Garunix. And now your Garunix, see, this is what I mean by it's like a combo web. It's like here I could send the Kieran and get the Arvada back, which is what I'm going to do for this purpose, but I could also send the Ulcanix and grab the high avatar Garunix and then like go into Hope Harbinger and Little Knight if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much you can do. But for this combo, I'm going to go Kieran into Arvada. I just feel like having the hard negates just a bit stronger. But just know that the other things are an option. I don't need to destroy anything on the field. And now I can just go into Masquerena. And now I have a Dark Cybers and a Fire Cybers. And that's going to grab me a Heat Soul. And Heat Soul's a fire to use with Arvada. And now I can draw my card. See what else I get. There's another fire I can destroy off of Arvada. And then you can Heat Soul, grab another card, could be a hand trap or something like that. So, you know, that's another combo line that you could do. Yeah, the deck's very, very flexible and really, really cool. Something else you could do is get yourself a setup where Masquerena is under Sunlight Wolf, and then you could potentially make like Avermax on the opponent's turn in a format where decks just have a hard time outing towers. In the Dogmatica version specifically, or maybe you're playing a hand trap version with Effect Veiler, you're gonna have spells on the field. I'm playing Tenki to make the Ponix Arvada combo more consistent. And, you know, if you have spellcasters, you could get your way into Selene and have, you know, Island and Sanctuary and maybe Tenki on the field, and then have Selene plus any spells in the graveyard, like maybe have Skyburn, or if you're playing the Dogmatica version, you're definitely going to have spellcasters. So you might have Nadir Servant in the graveyard, and Selene will get you up into Access Code. Those are potential combo lines. There's just a ton you can do. You could do the Zelantis OTK combo, which most people should know from Snake Eyes by now. And that's just really cool, and I'm probably going to take it to the sneak peek tomorrow and hope to get my hands on copies of Ulcanix. And yeah, I'm just going to send it and see what happens. I'll probably make some videos on it. I'll post my deck list of, you know, what it is before I have the Ulcanix, because I'm not sure if I'm going to run with the Dogmatica version for the event tomorrow. There's just not really enough room for hand traps that have enough meaning in a high-powered format against decks like Fiendsmith, Ubel, and stuff. I think the play might be to take the Dogmatica stuff out and just run more hand traps and just try to draw into them with Heat Soul. I think that might be the route I go for the sneak peek. I'm gonna have to think about it more, but yeah, I'll definitely post my deck list, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it and got to see some cool stuff you could do with the new Fire King Consort Ulcanix that's coming out in Rage of the Abyss in about a week. And if your OTS has a sneak peek, you'll be able to get the card a little bit early and start messing with it. Hey, it's Editor Me here from the not so distant future. And I realized I talked about all these Dogmatica cards in the deck, but I didn't really like explain their purpose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show that real quick. So basically the idea here is that off of Servant, you can send Garura and then add Maximus. Garura is going to draw a random card. It's going to make me draw whatever the next card in my deck is. I should have put question or something in to represent, but this is just a random draw. And then Maximus is going to be able to banish the Garura as an extra deck monster out of the graveyard to summon itself. And now I have a banished level 1 winged beast. So Maximus is going to send Titanclad and Shurag, and it's going to make me send for my opponent, so I'm just going to send some random stuff here. And then Shurag is going to trigger because I have a banished wing beast, so I'm able to add a level 1 wing beast for my deck. And then I can just hard add Ponix, which is really good because the bread and butter single copy Ponix play doesn't really require the extra deck, because you're just going to go Ponix into Sanctuary, which if you have a bunch of hand traps, like this is also a good time to mention, is like sometimes you don't really need to overextend. Like if I just did this and then like Ponixed and grabbed like Skyburn and then just had a bunch of hand traps on top of it, like sometimes that's just enough. Like you don't always need to overextend. So it's like if you're suspicious of Nibiru or whatever, it's like that would have been a potential option, is to just have like a couple hand traps, Skyburn, and then the Dogmatica line. You know, you have like 4 interruptions, could be good enough. Dodge a Nibiru, you know what I mean? Just always be mindful of that stuff. But from here, the island's going to destroy the Ponix, and you're going to grab Sacred Garunix. And then Sacred Garunix is going to send Barong. And then you're going to go to pass it over to the opponent, and Titanclad is going to trigger. And this isn't a necessity, you can just grab Fleur de Lis straight, but what I like to do is, I'm currently at the moment playing the Ecclesia and a copy of Punishment, and you'll notice I also had a copy of Ventus in the extra deck in case I activate multiple servants, or if I just, maybe I'll hard draw the Ecclesia, and then if I have an extra deck on the field, I can special summon it at the end of my turn and grab Punishment as an extra interruption with the Entis. But in the end phase, Titanclad can summon the Ecclesia here, and then Ecclesia can grab the Fleur de Lis. And the reason that I like this is because now I have 2 Dogmatica bodies. It's like if they just out a Maximus, it turns off Fleur de Lis, but with 2 of them out there, it's like now they have 2 things that they have to get over to turn off the Fleur de Lis. So from here, when you enter the standby phase, the Barong is going to be able to add the Kirin, and then the Ponix will add back itself. So this is a pretty solid setup off of one card, because remember, High Avatar is just supposed to be a random draw, so you're going to have the Ponix here that you can destroy with Kieran to summon it. And then your Ponix stays in rotation, and now you'll have access to the Quick Xyz from He Yang, because you'll have Kieran and Garudix on the field. And then on top of that, you'll also have Fleur-de-Lis, all off of pretty much a singular copy of Nadir Servant. So that's what's going on with the Dogmatica engine in the deck. But like I said, I do think it takes away from a lot of room for hand traps and stuff, so I might go a different route. I might take all the Dogmatica stuff out of the extra deck, which would be like these 4 cards, and then I might shove in basically the stuff to make Heat Soul and a bunch of hand traps in the Dogmatica slot. So that way, if I go into the Heat Soul combos, I'm drawing hand traps and things that disrupt my opponent even more. So not too sure which list I'm going to end up going with for the sneak peek, but this Dogmatica variant is what I was running in all of my tests. And, you know, I might farm some replays to make a highlight reel for this deck after the sneak peek's over, and I'll do a feature match. I also already recorded a feature match with my Tempai deck against Yubel. I updated my Tempai deck list, and I have a cool new tech card I want to show off too. So I have tons of videos coming out around the corner, so make sure you smash that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys next time.